Ancient Sumerians created by aliens. Modern-day accounts of alien encounters describe space visitors with features strangely similar to those depicted on old clay tablets and figurines from the oldest civilization on Earth, Sumer, a civilization that dates back to 4000 B.C. But that's not the only indication that Sumer was possibly in contact with aliens from outer space. There's much more to the story. Ancient records from the Sumerian civilization, artifacts, genetic evidence, and astronomical science suggest there might have been very close contact between Sumerians and aliens. Well, actually, more than just close contact. Modern-day Iraq at the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, location of ancient Sumer. The Anunnaki and the Sumerians. I don't know if I should go ahead and spill the beans right now or not. See, it's not just that the Sumerians were in contact with aliens. They were aliens. Or, at least, part alien, descended from aliens. That's the theory. In 1976, Zecharia Sitchin wrote a book called The 12th Planet, in which he laid out his translation of the text of the ancient tablets of Sumer. The story he revealed was that of the gods, the Anunnaki, who were actually aliens from a planet called Nibiru. This planet had been brought into our solar system through a gravitational pull and subsequently collided with another planet, and the broken piece of that planet formed Earth. The rest of the debris became meteors, asteroids, and comets. The people of Nibiru found themselves in a short supply of gold, which they needed for their atmosphere and their advanced technology. Earth, being plentiful in gold, was their prime prospect for the valuable resource. The Anunnaki encountered prehistoric humans and decided to use genetic engineering to create a slave race that would mine their gold and build their palaces. What they ended up creating was a species with genes from both Homo erectus and the Anunnaki. This would be modern-day humans or, back then, the Sumerians. Eventually, the Anunnaki decided to leave humans to their own devices but first equipped humans to build up a civilization that would sustain them. They taught them science, agriculture, technology, and social structure, and this is the theory's explanation for why the Sumerian civilization seemed to spring up out of nowhere and suddenly, many thousands of years ago, as a drastic departure from our prehistoric ancestors. Is there proof of ancient aliens? Proponents of the ancient astronaut theory cite evidence that aliens came to Earth many thousands of years ago and created and set up the old Sumerian civilization. Sitchin had met with an astronomer from the Naval Observatory, Dr. Robert Harrington, and their evidence matched up. One piece of evidence that matched was that Harrington, on good evidence, believed that there is a 10th planet beyond Pluto, which we still haven't officially registered. This planet, the two believed, is Nibiru, home of the Anunnaki. The fact that the ancient Sumerians had this information on their tablets also shows they had very advanced knowledge of our solar system, information that was not established back then, for instance, the 9 planets, including Pluto. Of course, they included Nibiru among those planets, so according to their tablets, there are 10 planets in our solar system. Sumerian artifacts. Artifacts recovered from ancient Sumer suggest a very technologically advanced society. There is speculation as to how people so long ago could have had these technological advances without outside help. Among the proofs of a very technologically sophisticated society at Sumer are recovered clay pot batteries that still contained electrodes, a flyable model airplane, and the precision cutting of huge stones to build their structures and cities. Rockets, airplanes, and even a helicopter were depicted on certain artifacts too. Genetic evidence. There is also genetic evidence of the possible existence of aliens in the oldest civilization on Earth. Scientists have discovered the first woman that we can genetically trace ourselves back to through mitochondrial DNA research, and this woman lived more than 100,000 years ago near the site of a gold mine in Africa. And it should be noted that it is considered an incredible discovery to find a gold mine that goes back that far in human history. Human beings were prehistoric at that time and not thought to have had gold mines at all. Equally important is that this area was the site of purported genetic engineering experiments by the Anunnaki. Stories passed down through different civilizations. Along with the documentation provided by ancient Sumerian texts written on their tablets, there are stories from around the world that indicate these aliens visited Earth. The Aztecs say creatures from space asked them to mine gold, and they wrapped their babies' heads to make them grow like those of the gods. The Bible talks of the Watchers or the Sons of God, which have been interpreted as the Anunnaki and their descendants, respectively. The Adam and Eve story corresponds with the Sumerian creation story. The Great Flood is explained in ancient astronaut theory as a result of the official Anunnaki being angered at their own species mating with the genetically engineered humans they created. The Greeks, Egyptians, and Celts all had similar stories to the alien creation story, having the same beings in them as the Anunnaki. The Zulus in Africa have a legend that visitors came from the stars to excavate gold and other resources, and these mines were worked by slaves created by the first people. Indeed, in southern Africa, there are mines that are hundreds of thousands of years old. Conclusion. Are these just stories people made up a very long time ago, and are these just cool little artifacts that were just pieces of art conjured up by the imaginations of our ancient ancestors? Or does all of the evidence point to visits from aliens who were actually what the old myths called gods? It might explain a lot. It might explain the creation myth, the story of a great flood that seems to be told across the globe, and it might explain how the pyramids were built and why you find them on continents far removed from each other. I guess we don't know. The major proponents of ancient astronaut theories seem very convinced that aliens were here on Earth, taught people how to build and run a civilization, and left them after helping them build up that civilization. Is it possible? You decide.